You've been replaced before, haven't you? Maybe not in words, not in official endings, but in the quiet way someone's attention shifted. In the way their eyes stopped lighting up when you spoke. In the way you suddenly became optional. You gave your best, your heart, your time, your softness, and somehow it still wasn't enough. You stayed kind, hoping kindness would keep you safe. But instead, it made you invisible. There's something you need to hear tonight. Something that will sting at first, but will set you free if you let it. You were never too much. You were simply too pure for people who feed on illusions. They mistook your goodness for weakness, your patience for passivity, your forgiveness for permission. But the truth is, being good isn't the same as being respected. And if you want to be irreplaceable, you must learn the power that goodness alone cannot give. This is what no one tells you. The world doesn't reward the soft-hearted who hope to be loved for their sincerity. The world bows to those who learn to be both lion and fox, to guard their heart with quiet strength, and to move through life with discerning eyes. It's not about becoming cold. It's about seeing clearly. It's about no longer confusing love with approval, or peace with silence, or loyalty with self-sacrifice. You've been living like a mirror, reflecting others' needs, moods, and desires, hoping someone would finally see you. But reflection isn't visibility. It's disappearance. You must stop reflecting and start radiating. Because when you know who you are, when your heart beats with clarity instead of fear, you become something no one can replace. People sense it. They feel the calm certainty in your presence. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg, you choose. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." But what if we reimagine that? What if it's not fear you inspire, but respect? What if love, when it's real, is born from respect, not pity, not comfort, not convenience? That's where power lives. In the quiet confidence of someone who no longer seeks validation to feel alive. If you're listening now, this message is for you, not for the world. For the part of you that's tired of trying to prove your worth, stay with me. By the end of this, you'll never be replaceable again. Not because you'll become harder, but because you'll finally become whole. If these words reach you, if they echo something inside you, stay close. Subscribe, like, share, not as an act of support, but as a promise to yourself that you're ready to wake up, ready to stop being the background in your own story. Once upon a time, you believed that goodness was enough. You believed that if you showed up with open hands and an open heart, the world would treat you gently. You thought that if you loved people deeply, they would never leave. But you learned, didn't you? You learned that some people only come close to take what shines, and when your light no longer serves them, they turn away. You learned that kindness can be misunderstood as weakness, and patience mistaken for permission to take more than they give. You gave and gave until you became invisible. You thought you were building bridges, but you were only building exits for others to leave through. You see, people don't always love what's good for them. They love what feels familiar. And if you've always been the one who gives, who waits, who forgives, then people will get used to receiving without ever seeing the weight you carry. They'll believe your strength is endless, your softness is permanent, your heart is unbreakable. But every saint, every healer, every giver reaches a moment when they realize love without boundaries is not love. It's self-erasure, and no one remembers what they cannot see. There's a secret in human nature that Machiavelli understood, though he spoke it in the language of power. People respect what they fear losing. It's not cruelty, it's clarity. When you stop begging for space and start commanding it with quiet confidence, the world rearranges itself around you. You don't have to shout. You don't have to demand. You simply stop offering your worth as if it's a discount sale. You stop bleeding for people who wouldn't even notice the color of your wounds. The illusion of goodness is that being nice will protect you. But the truth is, only strength can protect kindness. Without strength, goodness gets devoured. Without discernment, love becomes a cage. Without self-respect, compassion turns to self-betrayal. It's not your kindness that needs to die, it's your naivete. The part of you that believes love will fix people who don't want to change. The part that hopes if you stay soft enough, patient enough, giving enough, someone will finally choose you. But listen to me. Love is not earned through suffering. You are not a lesson to be learned or a backup plan to be used when comfort runs out. You are a force of nature, gentle, yes, but not fragile. Soft, but not foolish. The lion and the fox both live inside you. The lion gives you courage to stand your ground. The fox gives you the wisdom to see people as they are, not as you wish them to be. Together, they make you untouchable, not because you build walls, but because you build self-respect. Every time you forgive too soon, every time you explain yourself to someone who's already decided not to understand you, you tell the world you're replaceable. Every time you overstay where you're unseen, you send a message. My worth is negotiable. But when you finally walk away, not out of anger, but clarity, you send another message entirely. I am not a possession. I am not a convenience. I am a consequence. And that, my dear, is when people realize what they lost. Do you feel that ache in your chest right now? That's not weakness. That's awakening. It's the moment your heart starts to remember itself. The moment you stop confusing peace with silence and start craving truth instead. Because truth is the highest form of love. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't hide. It doesn't promise to make everyone happy, but it heals. It frees. It makes you whole again. Take a breath. You've been too kind for too long. You've loved with your eyes closed. Now it's time to open them. Not to become cynical, but to become wise. To see that the world doesn't need more martyrs. It needs more people who love without losing themselves. More people who can look in the mirror and say, I will never again trade my dignity for belonging. Because once you do that, once you find the balance between your heart and your spine, you become unforgettable. You become someone who cannot be replaced. Because no one else carries your energy with that much truth. You are not too much. You are just finally becoming enough for yourself. There comes a night, quiet and unremarkable, when something inside you shifts. You no longer crave to be chosen, you crave to choose. You no longer whisper, please see me. Instead, you breathe and say, I see myself. It doesn't happen in a grand moment. It happens in the soft disillusionment after one too many disappointments, when you realize that the people you tried to save never wanted saving, that the love you tried to prove was never doubted, it was simply taken for granted. You start to understand that people's treatment of you has never been a reflection of your worth. It's a mirror of what they see in themselves. Some will see your light and be inspired. Others will see it and feel threatened. Some will cherish your softness, while others will use it as a weapon against you. It's not personal, it's projection. And once you stop trying to earn what should be freely given, you start to feel something strange. Peace. The kind that doesn't come from being loved, but from not needing to beg for it. You used to think love meant surrender. That to prove your care, you had to bend, compromise, shrink. But love, real love, is not built on surrender, it's built on strength. It's not a performance, it's a presence. It's not about being everything someone wants. It's about being yourself fully and trusting that the right people will stay. The rest, let them drift. You were never meant to be everyone's home. There's an old saying from Machiavelli, fortune favors the bold. Most people mistake boldness for aggression, but it's not that. True boldness is honesty. It's the courage to stop pretending, to stop performing goodness that hurts you. It's the courage to say no without guilt, to walk away without explanation, to stand alone without panic. That's what power feels like, not dominance, but dignity, not hardness, but harmony between heart and will. You'll notice something strange once you reclaim that power. The world will test you. Old ghosts will return, asking for second chances. Familiar voices will whisper, you've changed. They'll call your new boundaries selfish because your old ones served them. But stand firm. Don't explain your healing to those who benefited from your pain. You are not cruel for closing a door that leads to your own destruction. You are not heartless for choosing peace over chaos. This is not punishment, it's protection. And yet, there will be loneliness. Not the kind that comes from being alone, but the kind that comes from shedding old illusions. You'll miss who you were, the one who believed love could fix everything, who thought people meant their promises. You'll grieve that version of yourself, but in that grief, you'll find something stronger than hope. You'll find truth. You'll see that the most loving thing you can ever do for yourself is to stop begging for what's already yours: respect, peace, self-worth. Listen, people may forget your words, your gifts, your sacrifices, but they will never forget how they felt in your presence. And when you finally respect yourself enough to stop overgiving, your energy shifts. You no longer attract takers, you attract equals. You no longer search for home in others, you become home. That's the quiet power no one can teach you. It's not learned, it's remembered. It's who you were before you were taught to please, before you were made to feel small for being soft, before love became a battlefield. The greatest mistake you can make is believing that being irreplaceable means being perfect. It doesn't. It means being real. People can imitate your smile, your style, your voice, but not your truth, not your energy, not your courage to love again after everything that broke you. You are not competing for a place in anyone's life. You are building a life where only those who honor it can enter. So breathe deeply. Let the mask fall. The world has enough polite liars. It needs more honest souls who aren't afraid to be seen as they are. Your power doesn't come from being untouchable. It comes from being unshakably yourself. That's what Machiavelli missed when he wrote of power. It's not control over others that sets you free. It's mastery of your own spirit. The calm certainty that no matter who leaves, you remain whole. The moment you live like that, you stop being someone's option. You become a force. And forces, my dear, can never be replaced. There's a moment when the noise quiets, when all the pretending stops, and you finally see people as they are, not as you wish them to be, not through the lens of potential or nostalgia or fantasy, but as they truly stand before you. It's a painful awakening, almost cruel in its honesty. You begin to see how much of what you called love was actually illusion. You start to see that many of the people you held on to were not companions, but mirrors reflecting your own fears of being alone. It's disorienting at first, this kind of clarity, because once you see truth, you can't unsee it. You notice the patterns, how often you explained away the disrespect, how easily you forgave, how you confused comfort with care. You remember the nights you stayed up, replaying every word in your head, wondering what you did wrong, but you didn't do wrong. You simply loved from a place of hope instead of reality. You wanted to believe in people more than they believed in themselves. You thought if you just held on tighter, they would meet you halfway. But they never did, not because you weren't enough, but because you were giving what they were never capable of receiving. That realization stings. It shakes the foundation of who you thought you were. You start questioning, if I stop giving, who am I? If I stop saving, will I still be loved? That's when you realize how deeply the world has trained you to earn affection by effort, to mistake exhaustion for devotion, to mistake suffering for loyalty. But my dear, love was never meant to feel like drowning. It was meant to breathe with you, not suffocate you. You can't save people who choose their own blindness. You can't make someone value you when they don't even value themselves. And you can't continue to bleed for those who only come close when they need to feel whole again. The truth is brutal, but it's also freeing. Because once you accept it, you stop negotiating your worth. You stop trying to convince others of what you already know inside, that your heart is not a debt to be repaid. It's a gift to be cherished. And yet, there's something beautiful about seeing clearly. It may harden you for a while, but only so you can rebuild softer, stronger. Clarity doesn't make you cold, it makes you precise. You begin to understand that the right people will never make you beg for the bare minimum. You learn that you don't need to be both the wound and the healer. You learn that your silence is not weakness, it's discernment. You no longer chase people, you observe them. You no longer justify behavior that hurts you. You name it. You no longer wait to be chosen. You choose. This is what it means to awaken, to see that the illusion of goodness without strength is what kept you in pain. That the desire to be loved more than respected is what kept you replaceable. The moment you demand truth from yourself and others, you step into a rare kind of freedom. You stop being afraid of being misunderstood, because you'd rather be real than adored for a lie. You stop trying to fix others, because you understand. Everyone must face their own mirror, and then something shifts. You begin to notice that your presence feels different. People sense it. You no longer carry the energy of someone trying to prove their worth. You walk into rooms with quiet confidence, and those who once underestimated you feel it a strange mix of awe and regret. You don't gloat. You don't need to. Your peace is your power now. Your clarity is your crown. The lion in you stands tall, no longer apologizing for taking up space. The fox in you watches quietly, discerning, no longer fooled by sweet words that hide empty intention. Together, they protect your heart without hardening it. Together, they make you someone who cannot be easily replaced, because you no longer live for the approval of those who never understood your value. You've been taught to believe that love must always be soft, but real love, for yourself and for others, is sometimes fierce. Sometimes it's a door closing. Sometimes it's silence instead of explanation. Sometimes it's the quiet decision to walk away from what doesn't honor you. That's not cruelty, that's clarity. And clarity, my dear, is the beginning of self-respect. The world will never teach you this truth, because it fears the person you'll become when you stop needing permission to exist. But when you finally do, when you step into your full strength with compassion intact, you'll see love isn't meant to make you smaller. It's meant to make you sovereign. You'll notice that once you begin to see people as they are, the world starts to look different, quieter, sharper, almost unfamiliar. The same faces remain, the same conversations occur, but you no longer feel the same inside them. You begin to sense the motives behind words, the tension behind smiles, the truth behind gestures. It's not cynicism, it's sight. You're not judging people. You're finally perceiving them. And it's strange, isn't it? How the same reality feels brand new once you stop lying to yourself. For so long, you believed that understanding people meant excusing them. You thought compassion meant carrying their pain as your own. But compassion without boundaries becomes self-destruction, dressed as virtue. The world doesn't need your suffering. It needs your clarity. It needs you to love without illusion, to care without losing yourself, to forgive without returning to what broke you. That's what it means to love from strength, not fear. You may start feeling distance from people you once called home. You may feel misunderstood, even accused of being cold or detached. Don't let that pull you back. Remember, your silence will always look like pride to those who are nourished by your chaos. Your peace will always be mistaken for arrogance by those who thrived on your confusion. Stay calm. The truth doesn't need defending. What's meant for you won't crumble under your boundaries. Machiavelli once said that fortune favors the bold. Boldness isn't aggression, it's self-trust. It's the courage to walk away from false harmony. It's the willingness to sit in the loneliness that truth brings before it fills with real connection. It's waking up each morning and choosing clarity over comfort. And the moment you start living that way, life begins to test you not to punish, but to purify. The same patterns will reappear. The same temptations will whisper, but this time, you'll feel something new. The quiet power of choice. You'll no longer chase those who run, because you'll know that love doesn't require pursuit. You'll stop fighting for attention, because you'll realize attention earned through performance is never love. It's dependency. You'll stop over-explaining your heart, because you'll learn that truth doesn't need persuasion. You'll understand that those who can't meet you in honesty are not meant to walk beside you. And for the first time, solitude will feel like sanctuary, not punishment. That's the paradox of power. It comes the moment you stop seeking it. The moment you no longer try to control outcomes or people, but master your own energy. The moment you stop chasing closure and become it. You start moving with a kind of grace that others can't define but everyone feels. That's why they can't replace you, because you're no longer a reflection of their need. You're the embodiment of your own peace. And when you finally meet someone new, whether a friend, a lover, or even a stranger, you'll notice how your energy changes the interaction. You no longer overgive. You listen, but you don't lose yourself in their story. You care, but you don't carry. You love, but you don't abandon yourself in the process. You're no longer looking for validation in their eyes, because you've already found it in your own. That's what makes you magnetic, not effort, not charm, but authenticity. People can feel when you're whole. They can sense when your love comes from abundance, not fear. And yes, some will try to test it. They'll poke at your calm. They'll misinterpret your strength. But you won't take the bait, because you've learned that the most powerful response is no response. You've become your own anchor. Your emotions no longer dictate your worth. Your choices do. You're no longer the storm, you are the sky that holds it. That's when the world starts to respond differently to you. Not because it's changed, but because you have. You move with quiet certainty. You stop needing to prove your goodness and start living it. You no longer seek to be loved by everyone. You seek to be true to yourself. And strangely, that truth begins to draw in those who are just as real people, who see your depth and don't flinch, who don't run from your strength, who meet you where you are, not where they wish you'd stay. You'll never be replaced again, not because you've built walls, but because you've become rare. People may come and go, but they'll never forget how it felt to be around someone who no longer trades authenticity for acceptance. Someone who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't break at the sound of rejection. You'll be remembered not for being perfect, but for being real. And that, my dear, is how you win in a world that once taught you to lose yourself. So here you are, standing at the edge of your own becoming. The person you used to be, the overgiver, the peacemaker, the dreamer who believed love meant sacrifice, is gone. What's left is something purer, calmer, someone who no longer runs from truth, who no longer confuses kindness with weakness or love with surrender. You've stepped out of illusion and into sight. You've become both the lion and the fox, brave enough to face life head-on, wise enough to move through it with grace. You will still feel tenderness, still ache sometimes, still wish things could have been easier. But this time, the ache won't break you. It will remind you of your depth. The softness you carry will no longer be an open wound. It will be a power, held carefully, shared intentionally. You won't chase love anymore. You'll simply become it, and those who are meant for you will rise to meet it, not feed from it. Remember, truth is the highest form of love. It's not always gentle, but it is always real. It's what sets you free. The day you stop pretending is the day you start living. And when you walk in that truth with quiet strength, open eyes, and an unbroken heart, you become unforgettable, irreplaceable. You no longer need to prove your worth to anyone, because you finally know it yourself. If these words found you in a moment of pain, let them stay with you. Let them be a mirror of your strength, not your sorrow. You are not lost. You are awakening. And if something in your heart whispered yes tonight, hold on to it. Let it grow. If this message touched something real in you, stay connected. Subscribe, share, leave a thought. Not for me, for you. For the promise that you will never again forget who you are.